Welcome. I'm very glad to be here today and glad that you're able to join either virtually or in person. So the topic is accessing our spacious stillness. Okay, so whether we're doing our personal healing work or whether we're out in the world doing social justice or raising families or whatever it is we're doing in our daily lives, having the ability to access inner stillness and inner peace can really help us in our day-to-day living. So we're going to practice that. And so I invite you to close your eyes, get comfortable, stretch your neck or your shoulders if you're feeling tense. Take a couple of deep, slow breaths from your belly, in and out. If you're not able to take deep breaths for health reasons, just internally relax your breathing. I'm going to do a reading from the Moment of Calm book, and you can just keep your eyes closed, relax, and just take some breaths. This is called Finding Peace Within. We are entering a new day. Sit quietly. Listen to the sounds floating past you and remember all who came before. During periods of uncertainty, inner stillness brings us strength. Strength of heart, strength of mind, and strength of spirit. Calm introspection illuminates not only our interior landscape, but also the astounding splendor of the world around us. When we are mindful of our motives and intentions, as well as consciously aware of the natural world in which we live, we become better at releasing our fierce grip on chaotic thinking and our futile efforts to control life. In stillness, we don't have to know all the answers. We don't have to be right. We don't have to prove a point. To rest in the silence of unknowing is not a sign of weakness. It means we are open and we are ready to hear the quiet whispers of our heart. As we continue the work of walking on this earth, we can ask, what is my role? How may I serve? How do I appreciate the gifts that make up the moments of my life? Each new day, we begin again. And the affirmation is, I begin this day in calm, abiding peace. I quietly listen to my heart. I know my strength rests within. So I invite you to open your eyes, come back. So as we're heading into the holidays, or perhaps coming out of our holiday celebration, depending on our traditions and which holidays we celebrate, it means different things to different people, so for some of us, the holidays are joyful, as we gather with friends or family and prepare meals. For some of us, the holidays may bring sadness if we've had someone we love who has passed, or we're missing someone who can't be with us, or we're going through a life challenge. If we're working or traveling, the holidays may be stressful, or if we're hosting people, it may be anxious for us. Or if we're visiting with family, it may be stressful as well. There's a Ram Dass quote, if you think you're enlightened, spend some time with your family. So there's challenges there sometimes as well. So for most of us, it's probably a mix of those things, moments of happiness, moments of stress, moments of sadness. And so embracing all of that is how we stay present to the moment. And regardless of all that, we have access to our inner stillness. So there's a reading by Rumi called The Guest House, which has to do with this idea of whatever emotion comes, just being with it and welcoming it. So Rumi says, this being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So in that space of stillness and that space of openness, we can be present to what comes. We're not running from it. We're not denying it. We're not, resisting it and fighting it. We're just open to it, which makes that moment of peace accessible to us. So Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about inner stillness. And Eckhart Tolle says, the equivalent of external noise is the inner noise of thinking. The equivalent of external silence is internal stillness. Whenever there is some silence around you, listen to it. That means just notice it. Pay attention. Listening to silence awakens the dimension of stillness within you. In that moment of noticing the silence around you, you are not thinking, you are aware. When you become aware of the silence, immediately there is a state of inner still alertness. You are present. You have stepped out of thousands of years of collective human conditioning. So we've probably had some examples of that in our life. For instance, if we've ever been in a situation of danger, we are fully present and fully aware because we're on high alert in that moment. Or sometimes with sports and athletes, they get into that moment where they are just fully present to whatever it is they're doing. Same with the arts, if we're playing music or painting or drawing, we may be just so immersed in that moment, that we are accessing our inner stillness, our inner spaciousness. So we're going to practice again with a meditation. So just, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So I invite you again to close your eyes. Get comfortable. Take 3 slow, deep breaths in and out from your belly. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. If you like, you can imagine yourself at your favorite place in nature, and perhaps you're meditating there. The image I like for myself is I like to imagine myself like a whale in the ocean. Maybe I'm splashing on the surface, having fun, and then I dive down, going deeper, deeper into the water, into the ocean, just being in the calm, vast space of the ocean and just listening and just being, just breathing in that calm space. And we're just going to do that for a couple of minutes. I invite you to open your eyes, gradually come back. So 60 seconds or so of stepping back, breathing can make a huge difference in our life. When we just are with that space that's all around us. I don't know if a whale feels the water around it, but we may not feel the air around us, but we are walking through space, right? I mean, we may notice when we look up at the sky or the stars, but it's all around us, all the space, spaciousness, which is also within us. And we can access that whenever we need it. So why? Why would we access our inner stillness and be intentional about having those moments where we go deeper? Right. Well, it's because we know, and the scientists, Harvard studies, and they tell us stress is incredibly harmful for our bodies, right? Chronic prolonged stress can lead to cardiovascular issues, headaches, digestive problems, mood disorders, heart attacks, stroke. It's incredibly harmful for our bodies and probably harmful for us collectively as well. So when we step back and we breathe and we take the time to meditate or just calm, right? We're stepping back from the stress or the chaos or the drama, and we're taking care of ourselves. And when we observe and we step back, right, then we're not so reactive. So we're not going to be triggered as easily by a family member or something on Facebook or something someone says, right? We see it, we observe it, but we have that space and ability to step back and decide, how do I want to respond? And we control that. That's something we have control over, our responses, how we feel. We can observe that. We can't necessarily control how we feel, but we can control what we say and what we do, certainly. And the stepping back gives us more choices, okay, rather than habits. Also, when we are open and we are spacious, we have more compassion, right? Because we have compassion for our suffering, all those host of feelings. I feel sad, or I feel anxious, or I feel worried, or I feel happy, whatever that is. We have compassion in our own hearts for our feelings. And I think that helps us have compassion for other people. That person is sad. That person is angry. That person is happy. We have that space around us that allows for the compassion of our fellow humans on the planet. So ways to access the stillness, we were practicing today with meditation. That's one way, certainly. There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson: "No one can bring you peace but yourself." Okay, so other ways, simple ways, sitting with your morning coffee or your morning tea and just observing nature, perhaps from your window. That can bring you inner stillness. Oh, there's frost on the grass this morning and the sun is shining so brightly upon it. Oh, there's leaves hanging from the oak tree still. Just observing what is happening in the moment right outside your window as you're drinking your coffee. That's what poets do. They just pay attention to what's right in front of them in that moment. Walking in nature, of course, is another way to be looking at the sky, watching how that landscape changes. The physical activity I mentioned before, whatever your sport or your yoga, your dancing, things that bring you fully into the moment. Artistic activities. During the pandemic, my daughters and I did a lot of painting for fun. not judging it or criticizing it, not as professional artists, just the act of painting and getting the paints and doing that activity together. It brought us a sense of happiness. So artistic activities can be listening to music, playing music, drumming, whatever that is for you that helps you. Noticing our thoughts. So, I mentioned in the beginning about observing, our different emotions and feelings and welcoming them, as a guest who's come to our home. So our thoughts are the same way. When we start to notice them, oh, I'm thinking, right? Here's this thought, so for example, you send someone a text and they don't reply back, perhaps it's a child or, a partner, what have you, a friend, and you don't get the text back. You don't get a response back maybe all day. What are your thoughts? The thought might be, well, why didn't they reply? And what's going on? And, oh, maybe they're mad at me, or it might go into childhood issues, oh, they don't care about me, right? They didn't reply. They never reply. They're so rude. Da, 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 da. Our brains can go down the highway, 80 miles an hour from one thing, right? Somebody didn't text us back. Okay. It's possible to notice that you're having that thought and say, I wonder what other thoughts I might have instead. Right. And with cell phones, and especially with children, you might have the thought, oh, the cell phone might be in the toilet. They might have dropped it. They might have lost it. They might not be paying attention. They might not have service, And the same with friends or family, that person that hasn't replied, they might be fixing a flat tire. They might be at the hospital because someone in their family is having a biopsy. There are so many infinite thoughts that you could have, especially in a situation where you don't know, and your mind is just making things up. And so just to be aware, oh, those are interesting thoughts. Those are interesting stories. I wonder if any of them are true. I wonder if I could have a different thought here. Maybe that one's true. And, just awareness of that, and maybe even laughing at how our brains so quickly have these thought patterns. So for instance, this is maybe 10 years ago. I was in Florida with my daughters, and they wanted to head over to Fort Lauderdale for spring break to meet up with some friends. And this is right when Uber came out, and I didn't know what Uber was. And so they were taking the Uber from where we were to Fort Lauderdale. And I said, well, that's fine. I'll put you on my location thing on the phone and just, we'll hook up, the next morning, And they went down in the Uber, and, and I had my phone, and I thought, okay, well, I can, track where they're at. It'll be fine. It's not that far away. It's 45 minutes or whatever, if something comes up. Okay, well, what happened with the cell phone is I'm checking it, and the location thing is like boing, 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 boing. It's all over the place. And my mind was all over the place as well, right? What is this Uber thing? What happened to them? Where did they go? Where are they? Oh my God, maybe they've been kidnapped. I mean, it was like panic, 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 panic. I was so stressed and so worried, and in this whole mind of thoughts, and one thought I had not had, which happened to be what happened, is there were so many kids at spring break that the cell towers were overloaded, and there wasn't reception on the beach, and the cell phones just weren't operating. They were like shutting down because there were so many spring break kids. I mean, this thought way over here that it's not even in your awareness because it just never occurs to you might be what's going on. And so just that awareness of being able to laugh at ourselves and say, yeah, that was interesting how that happened so quickly, and I ran with it. Oh, that's funny. Let's try not to do that next time. So awareness of our thoughts, that's a way to bring it back. And anytime you can be aware and look at something, oh, I'm the observer looking at this, it just gives you that space. Okay. And then, of course, listening to the silence, which is what we did today, can also bring you back to present moment. And even if there's a beeping noise or a truck, you can still just notice that without judging it, without having an opinion about it. Just notice, and that will bring you back. So just, I think it was last night. Was it last night? I was sleeping, and I have earplugs in, and I'm thinking to myself, like as I'm like in this half asleep state, what is that noise? What is that noise? What am I hearing? What am I hearing? And I'm coming out of the sleep, and I'm trying to figure out what the noise is, and then so I finally wake up and I take the earplugs out, and I'm trying to, get my bearings on what the noise is, and is it a truck? Is it an ant? What am I hearing? And what had happened is the power had gone out. And what I was having is I was not hearing the normal noise of the air purifier thing that has this like low background noise in the room. And maybe I was hearing a neighbor's generator. I don't know, but I thought, oh, that's interesting. Even the lack of our familiar noises can bring us back to this alert awareness of the present moment. So the other ways that this awareness can help us, this spaciousness, right, is that we can go deeper, step back, and we can look at problems at the root of them, not just at the symptom of them. And we can look at creative problem solving, because we're stepping back from the conditioning, all this conditioning that we've had all our lives, and generation after generation after generation, where you think this is how it needs to be, or this is how it is, and you don't even question it because it's just habits. But when you go deeper and you start looking at things from that spaciousness and that openness, maybe you see connections or solutions that you hadn't seen before, that interconnected web of life, where you start to realize how much of what we do and say is connected to other things happening around us. So one example would be, if you are active in the environmental movement, for instance, and you're giving money to organizations that help with clean air, clean water, that is also perhaps cancer prevention work, right? Because if we know people who have cancer or who've had cancer, who aren't heavy smokers, and we're meditating and we're doing this work, we might step back and say, I wonder if environmental conditions are having an impact on our health, right? And maybe cleaning the water, the air is actually helping our health and helping those people that we love, and so that's understanding deeper how to treat the root of the problem rather than just the symptom. The symptom might be a tumor, and the treatment might be radiation, surgery, chemotherapy, and which is all needed, but getting to the root so that future generations don't have to have that treatment, because we've gotten down to the root of the problem and we've done something about it. And that's any issue you want to think about, any aspect of social justice that you're working on, whether it's racial equality or, education, or disability rights, going deeper to try and look at our human family and what is going to help us and what is going to help the earth. And remember, when we meditate and when we're spacious and when we're open, we remember, oh, this is my family. These humans on this planet, you are my family. And the holidays remind us that we care about our family, we care about each other, and we care about the earth on which we live. And we want to do the best we can, always, to help each other and help the earth. So that's why I do the practice. So, closing reading, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes again. This is from A Moment of Calm book. It's called Believe. Birthing a better world has never been easy. Notwithstanding obstacles, we believe the work we do matters, not only for ourselves, but also for future generations. As we learn to go within for guidance, we return to the source. When we listen, we can hear the voices of all who came before and all who will come after. We believe we are inherently worthy. We believe our life holds both meaning and purpose. We believe our thoughts and our deeds today have the power to influence tomorrow. Whatever this day and the upcoming days may bring, our inner calm, resolve, and courage will see us through. Even in the midst of untold hardships, we can choose to believe in hope, in humanity, in miracles, in dreams, in healing. Whatever our daily trials, we forever believe in love. And the affirmation is, I believe life leads us forward. I believe we will find our way. I believe in love. Thank you.